The topic is meditation. What is meditation? So let's begin with how the sage Patanjali describes the 8 steps in yoga. He starts with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. The 7th step in this process, dhyana, is what we have started referring to as meditation. But over time, as this process came to the West and we started using the English word, many techniques, many teachings are put under the same description. But if we look at this process of dhyana, meditation, it comes at a certain point in the sequence. So what are we trying to do? If you remember from the process of yoga, we are attempting to take our consciousness from its outward focus. It's focused in this dimension of matter, of sense objects, of desire, of thoughts. We're attempting to turn it inward to then discover this other dimension within us. And in that dimension, then become aware of and experience what we are that exists behind the thoughts, the beliefs, the emotions, the body. What is it that gives us existence? So that is the process. So in that process, when we begin, we think we are the body, we think we are our emotions, we think we are our thoughts. So first we have to become aware that we are not that. You get some information, you learn some techniques that teaches you to focus yourself on this inner dimension, which means first you have to become aware that it exists, right? So that is why the first 3 stages come. What to do, what not to do, to break yourself out of this desire-driven habit of actions, so that you can then come to this inner dimension, become aware of it, maybe have small experiences of it. And then asana is how to have a stable posture. Why? Because the body is one of the places where we get hung up. We are identified with our body. So asana is to train our body to settle so that it stops dragging our attention to it. Then comes pranayama. You regulate the breath because the breath is tied to the state of your consciousness and the state of your mind. by regulating the breath, you can still your consciousness, and your mind, instead of being distracted, disturbed, can fall silent. You are increasing your odds of being able to control the mind. Then you come to pratyahara, which is the actual turn inward. You try to put your attention inward, remove it from the senses, remove it from the mind. Focus on this other thing. Dharana is concentration. Focus, you can say. So you learn to focus on this inner dimension. When you can do all of this with some degree of repeatability, then you can say, okay, then what is meditation? You're going to focus your attention internally on something which is not an object. Your being, your soul, your Atma. That's what you're going to try to do. Because if you take your attention and you focus it on something, what happens is you are drawn to that. It's the same process where in the outer world, when you focus on something absolutely with concentration, one-pointedly, you completely become oblivious to everything else, right? You just get drawn into this one thing that you are focused on. The more perfect your concentration or focus of your attention, the more everything else disappears until there is only that thing left. It's the same. When you achieve that one pointed, exclusive focus of all your attention internally on that thing which is not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, not your memories, not any of that, you become aware of only that to the exclusion of everything else. You will become united with that. And if you can sustain it, you will slowly begin the process of merging with it. And that is how you get to Samadhi. For as long as you can maintain that unbroken focus, you are in a meditative state. And then our concentration breaks and we'll bounce back. So when we learn something and we sit down, it's very hard to meditate. Meditation, you can think of doing only after you have gathered the ability to sit still regulate your breath so that your mind can settle, your body can settle. You learn to focus one-pointedly without distraction for sufficiently long periods, so that in that stillness and silence, slowly you can become aware of this other thing that you really have to focus your attention on. So it's a process. If we don't realize it is a process and it has all these stages, then either we get discouraged because our body doesn't settle and we expect, if we sit down and we say settle, it will settle, but your body won't. Neither will your mind. Because the mind is habituated, your body is habituated to a certain way of operating. So all these stages you have to go through before you come to meditation. And then finally, when you get to really meditating, then it's useful to remember that meditation is not something you do. You become meditative. Meditation happens. When all the other conditions are satisfied and you focus on this, you sort of pull it towards you, it pulls you towards it. Your consciousness gets pulled in to the being. It's a gradual process. Everything that you have heard of in bits and pieces, regulating your life, this is the yama niyama, watching what you eat, they all are so that you can increase the favorable conditions for this process. The state of your body depends on what it's been fed, what you've eaten. How well you can concentrate. Your single-pointed focus depends upon how settled your mind is. And you can get there by regulating your breath, because prana and manas are linked. And all the hatha yoga asanas that you do are so that your body can settle. So it's not aching, it's stretched, it's loose and relaxed. So it can sit still in one place so that your consciousness is not drawn to. So you're trying to detach your consciousness from being pulled towards your body, your mind, and then be able to gather all that attention and focus it on one thing. And then you become meditative. Now, having succeeded in doing this for short periods of time, when you have closed your eyes and you're sitting by yourself in isolation, and you get good at it, then you train yourself to maintain a portion of your attention always on this internally. So you're always linked to it. And then you learn to maintain that link even when your eyes are open, when you are in the outer dimension. A portion of your attention is always aware of what is going on internally, is always linked with that. Because that attention on that within you, that gives you your reference. That tells you up versus down, north versus south. And from there, as long as you have that reference, whatever happens in the material world, in your world of senses, mental, emotional, you always, by having this link, are aware that it is something that is happening to you. You have thoughts, you're having emotions, your body is uncomfortable, your body is in pain. You are not the thought. You are not that emotion. You're not consumed by it. So that the experience stands separate from what you are.